Trinity. We went to church, and then we are all packed in this truck like sardines because we went all over the place searching for some stuff for some projects that we have going on. And then we were all starving, so we had to stop at McDonald's, and we ate a bunch of junk.
So we'll show you our project later, but we're gonna do a mud kitchen.
Doing a mud kitchen.
And we're gonna have a whiteboard easel outside.
No, that's for the inside, for the homeschool room.
Oh, I'm wrong.
Anyway, so now we are at the grocery store picking up groceries because we didn't have time to go get them. So, say hi. All right, groceries are coming, so we're gonna get them, but we'll check in with you in a bit once we get the projects going. And now I am headed back to church by myself because we have VBS coming up next week. The kids that are in school here are getting out this week, and then we're doing a VBS next week, and I volunteered to help. So I am going to VBS volunteer training or something like that. So anyways, I'm tired. It's kind of warm out. I really just wanted to go home and relax, but I'm headed back to church. So Tony's home with the kids, and I'm going to go back and see what this VBS stuff is all about. So I will talk to you all soon. Okay. I apologize that I didn't record this on the same day. As we started this vlog, we started on Sunday morning, and we gone to church, and I had gone to VBS training, and as I was sitting in the VBS training, I got a text message from one of our neighbors who had told us that the dogs were in his garage and that he had chased them out. And I guess I should back up for a second. Like 2 seconds before that, as I was sitting in the training, it got super loud and thundered like I had never heard. In fact, I looked around the room, and nobody there seemed to let it faze them at first, and everyone kept talking, and they were teaching this training thing, and but my eyes were huge because I'm not from Tennessee, and so I'm not used to these storms yet. I've been here a year, and anyway, it started torrential downpour out of nowhere. It was sunny when I was driving there, and within minutes the weather just changed. So then anyways, I get this text a few minutes later, and from the neighbor saying that he had chased the dogs out of his garage. He didn't want them in the garage. So I know that they must have gotten out, and we live on a lot of property. So we have over 6 acres, and the dogs have been great about staying in it. And we do have a couple neighbors who also have dogs, and they kind of wander around together. But what I am presuming happened is that the dogs were out, and the thunder started, and it started raining out of nowhere. And I think that the dogs got spooked because Kona especially is terrified of storms. So I text Tony while I was there, but he didn't get my text message. And so immediately after I got out of the training, which wasn't too much longer, maybe 20 to 30 minutes, I called him, and he's like, oh shoot, I put them out to go potty. He opened, and they weren't they have a big enclosed garage that we had open for them, and they weren't on their beds, they weren't in there. And so he started looking for them, couldn't find them. I drove down our road, couldn't find them. Very unusual because they're normally on our property or around that area, And so Tony went back outside when I got home after I still didn't find them when I was driving, and we saw a car started driving down our driveway, and we didn't recognize it, and it was a man that had been driving down the road and saw another car hit one of our dogs, and he had them both in the back of his car. And just to paint a not super descriptive picture for you guys, it just looks so bad. Lily, our smaller dog, our pointer, was okay, and I guess she wouldn't leave his side. And a lady was driving down the road and hit him, and I guess she wasn't going very fast, but anyway, she was just going to leave him there. And so this sweet family didn't know what to choose, so they called animal control right after it happened, and they were already on their way and actually showed up shortly after the family. But he had put the dogs inside of his car, and when he opened it up, all of my kids were out there. Tony was out there with the kids before I was, and it was just heartbreaking because his eyes, there was blood coming out of his eyes, and the guy had said that blood was coming out of his mouth on the road, and his paw was bent, and it just looked not good. So we started making phone calls. There's no 24-hour like emergency vet where we live, which now we know, but animal control had showed up and they were trying to help us call and nothing. Like Nashville is the closest, which is over probably at least an hour away. Plus it was, remember, the weather was really bad, and so it probably would have taken longer, and we didn't even think he would make it that far. So as I was talking to animal control, Emmeline, I was holding Emmeline, and she was like, "Mommy, I don't feel good." And as I'm talking to them, she starts throwing up on me. So anyways, I take her inside, and they finally, by the grace of God, got into a vet that had a doctor that was on call, and they were going to meet Tony there. So Tony took off. I took care of the kiddos, and it was just a very emotional night because it took a very long time before we heard anything. And basically by the end of the night, I got a text message from Tony letting me know that he was okay, that he didn't have any broken bones or internal bleeding, which was phenomenal, and that he was going to be okay. And so we didn't know the severity of anything else, but we knew that he was going to be okay. But there was like a big long time lapse between there, and so I couldn't record it or come back on here because it was just it was too emotional. I didn't know how to comfort my kids, and I was trying to prepare them for like the fact that he probably wasn't going to live, because if you would have seen him, you wouldn't have thought that he was even going to live. So it was very emotional, very hard. My kids were screaming and crying, and I had one that was throwing up. So anyway, that was the end of our night, and you will see an update on Kona in the next video and see what happened with him. But I just kind of wanted to close out this vlog because we had such a fun day up until just the evening, and then it just seemed like things went downhill. We had throwing up and dogs getting hit by cars, and we are just we've just been through it. So anyways, stay tuned and check out the next video to find out what happens with Co and what happens with our family. And thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe down below to our blog, and just to kind of keep updated on our family, what happens with Co, and just all the other things that we have planned for you. Thank you so much for watching.